Hello! Oh my goodness.
Hi.
We're back.
We're back.
Oh my
wow,
goodness,
what a crazy
season
time.
3.
For those who don't know, we are the Mystery Files.
I'm Logan Lamaster.
And I'm Tiffany Walker.
And welcome.
Welcome back.
We are very excited to be here.
Very thrilled.
This is season 3.
What a wild adventure
Episode
it's been.
1.
Welcome
technically,
to episode 1.
If you don't count the spin-off that we did.
Yeah,
because that was a thing for
Summer
a while. Yeah, Miss Summer Tapes. Oh my gosh.
An episode will be coming soon from the Summer Tapes. We kind of...
Yes, we will be doing a Summer Tapes episode eventually.
Yeah.
We were having a whole issue
we had
with
a
that.
Summer, trying to make a little show during COVID for you guys.
We tried to have a little bit of time, quarantine.
We did, just for
it's
you.
a lot, but we are in a new location as well.
We are. Welcome to the podcast studio.
The podcast studio. I have to make sure
Yeah.
this microphone hears me.
Oh,
I hope
wow.
does our these are like bougie microphones.
They're very bougie.
Like,
they're not like crumbly.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of wild to me that
I love
we're
it.
having these. I'm like, it's so exciting.
I enjoy them. They feel very clean and
Yes.
fresh, and there's so many like sanitation things in here. I'm here for it all.
I know. And we're also not wearing our masks right now, so you guys can see our
Yes.
beautiful faces.
Hello.
And we also were able to fix the system because we live together.
We're roommates.
We're
and they
roommates.
were roommates.
And they were
Yes.
roommates.
They were roommates.
We were scared for a second we weren't going to be able to bring the show back to WPPJ.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Because they started a new rule that was like, hey, only one person can do a show now.
Mm-hmm.
And
We were like, we are a 2-person show. How do
Yeah.
we make the Mystery Files? That one of us.
yeah,
We
you
need
can't
it.
you can't do the Mystery Files without one or the other. It's
Exactly.
like what's an
It's
analogy?
like a PB&J with no peanut butter.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
I almost said something about like cream and soup. I don't know what that meant.
Or like your burger that you have, but with no peanut butter.
Oh yeah, wait.
Because you're
Aw.
crazy. Tee hee hee.
I've started having peanut butter on my hamburgers, and it kind of slaps. Tiffany doesn't
Highly
like it.
disagree. I'm not going to try it because I feel like that just sounds disgusting. No offense, but ew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you guys don't know, on the Mystery Files, each week we investigate a true crime or supernatural case, and we take turns each week discussing. And we react to the case, vice versa.
Yeah.
So this week for the season 3 premiere, it is my case.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I know, it's been a while since I've done some
No.
like reading of cases.
I've been
so,
waiting
like,
patiently.
That's exciting.
You always pick really interesting cases that I wouldn't expect, but I love it
do.
every time.
That's true.
And sometimes you even steal cases that I've had planned for months in advance, but that's also fine.
We should do a highlight reel of like every roast we've ever done to each other on the show.
That, in real life and on the show, that would be many.
Stop. That would be so
Very
funny though.
many.
That would be good for us, I think.
How do we even keep track? We need a list.
I'm like looking at our levels.
Oh, I feel so bad.
We can like see the recording of like our spikes, and it's literally like a squiggly line, and it's so funny to look at.
I mean, we're just loud sometimes,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
We're probably like this every show.
We're allowed to have some little
I think this is beautiful.
whatchamacallits in the red. It's okay.
All right, shall we get into this week's case?
Is it really time?
I think it is.
Am I allowed to do a little drum roll?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me clear my throat so I can drum. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay.
This week on the Mystery Files, we will be discussing the disappearance of Brian Shaffer.
Oh no!
Dun, dun, dun.
Who the
This-
heck is Brian Shaffer?
You were about to find out. This is the case I told you about 2 months ago that I wanted to do for the first episode.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay, but I remembered.
That's better. It's
I
probably better
remembered.
if I don't remember anyway, so it's
Honestly,
okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I forgot that I picked this case.
I'm impressed that you picked a case that long ago, though. That's
No,
pretty great.
I literally was like, oh my god, this would make such a good mystery file. Tiffany would love this story. But then, like, yesterday I was like, oh god, did I ever pick a case? And then I realized I picked it 2 months ago, and I forgot.
I love how we plan the show like in months in advance. Like when we're gonna
We
have
forget.
the premiere, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna plan the actual show until like the day before." That's just really good. That's pretty iconic of you.
All right, so this case is brought to you by Dispatch.com. This is from an archive on the news story that they did in 2006 on this.
Hello, 2006.
All right. So
I'm excited. Let me get my listening ears on.
Whew.
Okay, I'm really excited. Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
I think.
So, this is a little bit of a log line.
Okay, I'm ready.
Randy Shaffer died in a freak accident in 2008 before he could unravel the mystery that had consumed his life for nearly 3 years, the disappearance of his son.
Ooh.
The poster is still taped to the window in the 6th floor lobby where all who have business with Special Victims Bureau can see it. In one photograph, Brian Shaffer is bearded. In another, he's clean-shaven. Detectives change pictures every once in a while because if Brian is still alive, it's likely he's changed too. But what hasn't changed is not in 3 long years are the words, missing OSU medical student, last seen at the Ugly Tuna Saloona on April 1st, 2006. Reward. Honestly, the Ugly Tuna Saloona is such an iconic name.
They're like so serious, like this man went missing on this date. But guess where he was? He was in the Ugly Tuna Saloona. How am I supposed to take that seriously? Like, I know it's a serious thing.
It was on April 1st too. When he disappeared, it was like April Fool's.
He's like, it's just a joke.
That's what I was thinking. Oh.
But how do you like seriously go missing in a place like that?
Well, we're about to
He's
find
asking
out.
for a bit, and that's not my fault.
So this case has always been a hard one to solve, even for detectives who are accustomed to investigating things like this. Brian's mother, Renee, lost her battle with cancer only 3 weeks before he disappeared. The double loss sent her husband, Randy, into a tailspin. He spent the next 2.5 hours on a rabid, relentless search for his oldest son, sloshing along miles of riverbank, fielding phone calls from psychics, and making pleading public pitches for help, until a freak accident during September 2008 windstorm took him. Oh. So he basically, spent so long trying to figure out what happened to his son. He made it his life goal. Yeah.
I can't imagine being so desperate to, go to psychics. I'm just interested by that. Actually reaching out to a psychic. I'm like, do they really have the information I need? I'm intrigued.
Yes. So this is the report Randy wrote. And that's what we'll be reading because honestly, in my opinion, I was like, what better way to talk about a mystery than the person's father?
Yeah,
the one who wrote it. Yeah,
it's
I thought
directly
it was crazy.
impacting him.
All right.
I'm ready.
The details of that Friday night in 2006 have been reported and repeated, sifted and scrutinized, examined and re-examined by the family, the police, and the web-based sleuths who love a good mystery. It goes something like this. Brian, 27, and his former roommate, Clint Flores, which is a little bit of a tongue twister, I think. Clint Flores. Oh my gosh.
Florist.
He can star in the movie version.
Oh my gosh, he's like a flower actor. That's so pretty of him.
They arrive at South Campus's Gateway's Ugly Tuna Saloona
Here we go.
Sometime after 9 p.m., determined to celebrate the beginning of spring break with a boys' night out.
Wow.
It was just a Saturday with the boys.
Just a casual Saturday with the boys at the Tuna Saloona. Me too.
Just before 10, Brian speaks briefly to his girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, who, like him, is a second-year medical student at Ohio State. He tells her he loves her and hangs up. It is the last time she'll ever talk to him. While Wagner visits parents at home in Toledo, Brian and Florence bar hop from Gateway to the Arena District to the Short North, where they met Florence's friend, Meredith Reed. Oh. By this time, Florence will later explain to police they've had several shots and gladly take Reed up on her offer on a lift back to the Ugly Tuna. So this is where it gets crazy.
Oh no, where'd they go?
Surveillance cameras hidden in the ceilings and facades at Gateway catch the trio riding the escalator up to the second floor bar and stepping inside. It's 1:15 a.m. Just before 2, Brian is back in the camera's view speaking with 2 college-age women who they don't know. He appears to say goodbye and walk away, and he's never seen again.
Is he a filthy, rotten cheater?
Oh. So, calls from Lawrence and Reed go unanswered that night. Calls from Wagner and Randy go unanswered all weekend, but it isn't until Monday morning when Brian misses a long-scheduled flight to Florida that his family is sure something is wrong, and they immediately call Columbus police.
Oh, snap-a-rooney.
Yeah, so basically, to kind of give you like a visual idea for our podcast listeners and for the people on the web.
The working.
So basically, he was like talking to these women outside of like the saloon, and like he was like, yeah, cool, great, and it's very weird because they like leave. And he doesn't. He goes out of frame of the camera, but he doesn't go down the escalator. But the security cameras never see him go down the escalator again. But he disappears.
Ew, where did he go? What if he's, like, hiding in the vents or something?
It's almost like he vanished into a corner. Like, it's almost like he walked into that corner across this room right now and just disappeared into thin air.
Aliens took him.
That's a theory.
He got sucked up into the LED lights of this place. I imagine, like, a mall with, like, the second floor being, like, the bar.
Oh,
but somehow he's sucked up. I don't know what building it actually is, because I don't know what bar has 2 floors with an escalator. I just don't know.
Okay, so Sergeant John Hurst, a father, has... What is it? So, John Hurst was assigned the case with Brian, and he has been, like, working on it for a very long time. Hurst and his detectives began their investigation where they believe Brian ended his night at the Ugly Tuna. Which is, I'm glad they're referring to it as just the Ugly Tuna now, because they probably got tired of saying Ugly Tuna Saloona.
It's a mouthful, a little tongue twister.
Ugly Tuna Saloona.
It's kind of pretty.
It is kind of, that could be like on a t-shirt. I'd wear it.
Stop, like a vintage
Do you think they have one? I'll Google it after.
Stop, we can make it part of our next round of merch.
Stop it, the Ugly Tuna Saloona. Oh, we might do merch.
We might do merch. Thing. I designed something, but like, we'll see.
Yes, that'd be so fun.
But we need to make like t-shirts with all these random quotes.
Yeah,
like,
honestly.
Ugly Tuna Saloona.
Alright, so it's one of those quintessential college bars with a spring break attitude, plenty of drink specials, and constant entertainment. But it was also trendy enough to be located in Gateway, the city, in Ohio State's upscale answer to the increasingly dangerous of the south end of campus, which I guess a lot of people, like, crime is higher in that area during the party scene.
Okay.
So silent and often incontrovertible, witnesses to the crime can track a case open faster more reliably than humans who are prone to faulty memories and misled loyalties. So they were like, oh yeah, like, let's talk to the cameras. Let's see, like, what's going on. Like, I'm sure we can figure it out. But the cameras at the Ugly Tuna only caused more confusion because while they caught Brian entering the bar that night, they never caught him actually leaving. Detectives were perplexed. If Brian left the way he arrived on the escalator, he surely would have taped by one of the cameras. But they soon learned that there were other ways out.
Oh, okay.
He might have changed his clothes or donned a hat and kept his head down and face obscured.
But what was he hiding?
He could have left through an exit that led directly to a construction site. It would have been difficult to navigate, especially if Brian were intoxicated, but it wouldn't be impossible. Or, the worst scenario of all, maybe the cameras simply missed him. One panned the area constantly, another operated manually. What if Brian had slipped out of the anonymous space between them?
Ooh.
But how would he know where the anonymous space between the cameras even was?
I want to know. Did he disappear? Like, how did he disappear? But also, hear me out.
Okay.
What if he did something crazy in this small amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, oh my gosh, like, say he killed someone, did something wild. Imagine.
Just something crazy. Just something, like, a little bit tasteful.
Imagine he does something just absolutely insane, okay? So he's like, oh my gosh, the footage, it has me doing XYZ. Can't have that happen. He goes into, like, all of the inner workings of however that stuff works, and he cuts the footage, so then...
It's like a spy movie.
Yeah, literally, he just takes out that little chunk of footage. So then you don't see him go in, you don't see him come out, like...
I mean...
I don't know, hear me out. It's possible.
I mean, that's
but also, theory. I guess if he would be intoxicated, maybe not. Or maybe he was just
maybe, like, when he's drunk, he becomes, like, a secret agent.
Honestly,
like, it's cool. Perry the Platypus, but add alcohol. What?
No, I said Perry the Platypus, but drunk.
Oh, my God. He goes... Wait, that was good.
Was it really?
That was kind of good. Yeah.
What? Really?
We should just start a cartoon impression channel instead. It's so scary.
I'm like kind of proud. I feel like it doesn't
The
sound
people on the
anything
street are like,
it.
what is happening? Like,
I
they
feel
can hear
like-
you through these glass walls.
I feel like you're hyping me up and I'm not really that good, but I appreciate that you're lying to me, so thank you. Because that doesn't sound right in my ears. That sounds nothing
Well,
like
you have like a
fairy.
different perception of your voice than other people do.
No, that sounds
No,
nothing
that was
like
that
it.
wasn't good. I had to step back from the microphone so it wouldn't go into the red.
Oopsie doopsie. No, I feel like it's definitely bad, but thank you for humoring me.
All right.
But yeah, you cut the footage. XYZ.
So, in the first few days of his disappearance, as many as 50 police officers searched for Brian at one time. They scoured the streets, they pawed through dumpsters, knocking on doors. They moved in an orderly, constructed pattern, beginning at the Ugly Tuna to Brian's campus area apartment, working their way around, making distance in blocks and miles. And nothing came of it. They questioned Brian's friends and family and asked them all hard questions you do when someone disappears. Questions about drugs and enemies in difficult times. They checked hospitals and homeless shelters. They followed tips and hunches to landfills and riverbanks. They even persuaded the city to check nearby sewer lines. But no one found anything. Not even the K-9 units could find him. Isn't that crazy?
What if he's like, one second. What if he's like inside the pipes of the building or something crazy?
He's like hiding in there, like waiting.
Or like there was one show, this person was literally inside like one of those like sewer things. Like big, I don't know what they're called. One of the power units. Someone was like inside of it. So what if he's just in there chilling?
Oh my god, I mean...
He's just vibing, you don't know. We don't know.
So, police began to wonder if Brian's disappearance was a crime or a setup. Maybe he was more distraught over his mother's death than he had been letting on. It had only been 25 days since the funeral. Perhaps Brian's disappearance was preconceived, a way for him to escape the pain of losing a parent for a while. If that were the case, he would sure to return, right? But hers had another theory, and it wasn't good.
What was it?
It had been gnawing at him since the first day at the Ugly Tuna, but Brian had missed his Monday morning flight, a plane ride that would have taken him to a sunny stretch of Florida, and a possible proposal to his girlfriend.
Oh.
It seemed unlikely he would skip such a trip. When people disappear, they typically do go on the, brink of disappearance.
Stop, hear me out. We go back the route of him cheating. Because if he cheated, he would be like, oh my gosh, I ruined it. I spoiled it all. And then...
Like, he's got, like, a wedding anxiousness.
Yeah,
Like, before
and,
a
like,
wedding. It's like, I don't know if I love her.
Yeah, and he decides to be a dummy boy, and then he cheats. And then he's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And then he, like, does something crazy. I don't know what that crazy thing is.
Oh, this is,
But it makes me go missing. I'm scared. You're laughing.
This
scary.
is where this story's just crazy. Like, oh my goodness.
What a wild being.
So, in the first few months of searching, Randy allowed bits of hope to Freckle his pain. Which
Freckle.
Randy is the dad. If anyone forgot, he's the dad. Randy Shaffer.
Freckle his pain.
Friends say he seemed oddly boiled when Brian's apartment was burglarized, thinking there could be a connection, and there wasn't. He figured a good tip would come after, and I kid you not, Pearl Jam's lead singer, Eddie Vedder, took time out of a concert in Cincinnati to talk about the case because he was a fan.
Stop. I can only imagine. It's like, man, what a misery. Thank you. This has been Eddie Vedder.
I actually saw the video. He was like...
No,
he
you
was
did
like,
not. Can you
yes.
please pull it up
He was
right
like,
now?
oh god, that's...
I just want to hear him go,
so much
it's mine.
He was just like, yo, my boy's Brian's gone. My boy's Brian's gone.
My boy Brian is what missing.
Stop and went missing. So another thing that they did is that they tried to track his cell phone because,
Okay.
like GPS stuff like that, and they tried to get rings. However, he had a type of phone where what is it? I was trying to think.
Like they can't track it?
Where like it can't be tracked. Yeah, it's like a
Okay.
burner phone. So
Got
the
it.
only way they could like get it is if a notification comes from the phone.
But why did he have a burner phone is the question. Was he like...
That's what I'm saying.
Was he
It's
involved
almost
in
like he
something
was
real bad?
It was like he was setting up to like go
Yeah.
missing or something. I don't know.
Another identity.
So they heard, like, a ring from him that went directly to voicemail. And, like, the entire family freaked out because they were like, oh, my gosh, like, his phone rang. That means it's still on and, like, things were happening.
Mm-hmm.
Although it turned out to be a computer glitch from Singular.
Oh,
Thanks,
no.
Singular.
Thanks, Singular.
Thanks for ruining a family.
You literally destroyed a family.
We get a cease and desist letter from Singular. I don't even know if they're a thing anymore. Do you remember that, Singular? They were like from 2006.
Yeah, when we were like 5 years old.
Yeah, that's the type of phone he had.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah. That's what
Wait,
I'm saying.
what year did this happen again?
2006.
Got it, okay, yeah.
We were little babies.
I was gonna say, why can't they track? But I'm like, wait, it's 2006. They didn't have, like, crazy technology.
No one has that anymore. I know for a fact, though, if he had an Apple phone now, though, we would find him in a second. Like, Steve Jobs would know his location before, like,
yes,
any
exactly.
of us. He'd be like,
I mean, but also,
hey.
if you think like that now, there's some people that have gone missing. They have iPhones, and people still can't find them. So, like...
He must not be doing a very good job.
Maybe Apple's just not letting them in there. I feel like Apple should definitely let people do that if people are missing.
Okay, yeah, so basically, with all of this in mind, like, they tried literally everything in a matter of time. Like, the family, friends, like, everyone just started to, like, give up on the case. It was like, this case is cold, like, we don't know if there's anything to this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But Randy's dad was so, like, hell-bent on finding him.
Oh my gosh.
He was, like, very much like, no, my son is still out there, I need to find him.
This sounds like a really good movie pitch.
Honestly,
like, I can imagine the father, like, being a really great character.
He, after the police gave up, he started putting missing up posters around the city himself. He started taking everything into his own hands, into account. That's amazing. Yeah, it's honestly kind of heartwarming.
Yeah, for real.
Honest. So, desperate for any link to his son, Randy even listened to advice from psychics. One insisted Brian's body was submerged in water, held down by the whirlpools that form at the base of concrete bridge posts. And at the time of his disappearance, Brian lived in 200 block of King Avenue, less than a mile from the Olentangy River. I feel like that's not how you say that, but hopefully that's working.
I believe in you. You said it perfectly. I couldn't tell you any different.
Randy and his brother bought fishing waters called Kevin Miles and headed for the riverbank to roam. For hours, Randy splashed from bridge post to bridge post, kneeling and peering into the murky water for any sign of his son, while Miles looked on helplessly, sensing this particular search was futile. At one post, Randy's feet slipped out from underneath him, and the whirlpool that was supposed to be holding Brian yanked Randy towards the riverbed.
Oh.
His brother grabbed him right before he went under.
Oh, so it's, like, very possible he could be
It's
there.
very possible.
But it's, like, how did he get out of the store?
Out of the saloon, yeah.
Yeah, how
out of
did
the
he get
saloona.
Out of the Miss Tuna Saloona.
The Miss Tuna Saloona.
Tuna Saloona.
But yeah, Miles stood stunned by the scene and by Randy's willingness to sacrifice so much for the faintest possibility of victory. The brother remembers saying, "A father shouldn't be going through all of this. Please just let him find his son."
Oh.
So it is very possible, like, literally he could have, like, dipped his foot, like, his toe into that water, and it could have, like, sucked him in.
I feel like even, like, if he was very intoxicated, like, there's no way he could have made it out.
Yeah, no,
like,
absolutely
realistically,
not.
like, if his dad almost died casually,
the only
sober.
The only, like, issue with this theory, not that there's a big issue, is that, like, how did he get by the cameras and, like, walk from, like, the other side of town to his house, but instead of going to his house, he went to the riverbed.
How do you know if it said how far it was from the saloon?
It's like across town.
Okay,
like,
so it's
from
like
the location. It was a block or so from his apartment.
Okay.
So people were like, oh, like, maybe he, like, went back to his apartment, then wanted to go, like, out on the lake. Maybe he was depressed about his mom, you know, like, trying to, like, you know, sometimes you go for walks and you're like, wow, life, man. And then that's how he went. But there was just so many, like, stuff happening with that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like even prior in this case, you had mentioned that there could be different ways to get out of the saloon.
Yeah.
So if he were to go a different way out with those two girls or something, they go back to his apartment, whatever happens, and then he goes to that little river beside his house. Because he's like, I've ruined my life. I've ruined my potential fiance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, blah, 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 XYZ. And then he goes there and he drowns. Or
it's
whatever.
quite possible. Because I think also a lot of people think the theory of him going through the exit and getting through the construction site is the most plausible theory. It was a really dangerous construction site.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that's how he exited because it leads to a back door to the other side of the saloon. So he could have left undetected.
Okay.
Which I think is very interesting.
More plausible, I think.
So, if you haven't noticed already, a lot of this case is just them trying to figure out, was it this? How about this theory? And then it's like them figuring out stuff. So the next thing detectives and people thought what happened was is that they believed he was killed by the smiley face killer.
Wait. Is this like Mr. Smiley? Is that like one of the names?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of this.
So
vaguely.
he was a killer who would prey on intoxicated college-age men in the Midwest, murdering them and tossing their bodies into local rivers.
Oh, no.
2 retired New York City detectives have spent more than 10 years investigating the scene of the 40 so-called drownings, and they found a smiley face sprayed along the riverbank at each one, except for Brian's.
Okay. Why would they...
So they never found in that riverbank, like they never found his body and they never found his smiley face. So they're like, is this even a tag?
Yeah.
And apparently there is, this is what I think is really interesting with even that 40 in mind. This could be a whole other case we could talk about another time. But a lot of people, like in 2006, had like, they were like wondering, is he real or is he not? Like, it was a real debate. Like, people to this day still don't know if the smiley face killer was a real person or if it was a coincidence. But with, like, 40-some people,
I feel like, how is that not a... Like, that's definitely a coincidence. Like,
yeah.
Very intended. Especially if it's all having to do with bodies of water in which people are drowning.
So basically they, like, the father and even the detectives find this theory, like, really unlikely. He wasn't tagged. They never found his body in the river, and they found the bodies of all the other victims. So they are just unsure of that as being, like, the cause.
I just wonder how they can really in-depth check that area, though, because then they say it was like a whirlpool. Like, how could they safely check it?
Yeah, completely? Exactly. And like from what we've seen, like already, like it's really hard to like investigate inside of a river. Like it's really hard to find a body if it gets under there. Like, exactly, it's not easy.
Plus, by the time they probably figured out, like, oh, he might be in the river,
it's too late.
He could be so far gone by that point.
Yeah, like there's no way of finding him.
Like, even if it wasn't Mr. Smiley Face dude, like, he still could have drowned there.
I honestly never thought of it like that. Like, the idea of, like, it going down, like, the river like that?
Yeah.
That could honestly happen.
Like, there's no way they can check every square inch of it to make sure. Because he could even be underneath, like, the surface of the actual water.
Yeah.
Like, under the ground. I don't know.
Alright, so, they find it, like, the entire idea unlikely. But they got a tip from a young woman who was on a drive through Michigan and had stopped to eat at a diner and was waiting on by a man who looked suspiciously like Brian Shaffer. Oh. His name tag even read Brian S.
That's weird.
She was afraid to ask the question, so she called the police instead. And when they tried to follow up, the restaurant owners were coy, claiming no one named Brian worked there.
But what did she see then? What do you mean?
I mean, like, she probably honestly saw it, but, like, they were just like, oh, I don't know.
How far was the diner from, like, where he's from? Did it say, like, it was a different, like, state or anything like that?
It was in Michigan.
Okay, and this takes place in...
Well, give me one second.
I'm, like, trying to remember. I'm like, what state was it again?
It's definitely in the Midwest.
Yeah.
He went to Ohio State University.
So
Canada. Just kidding. Can you imagine? Could you imagine?
My brain just glitched
it was Columbus.
You said that.
It was Columbus, Ohio. I literally forgot.
You made my brain the most confused it's been in a long time.
Does anything good happen in Ohio?
Nothing worse than a summer in Ohio.
Wow, that was...
Quote, the effort, the
that
flaw.
was a performance.
No flaw there, my homie. But yeah, I don't know. He could very much be there.
Picture of Brian. He's kind of a good-looking guy.
Stop, he looks like that actor that I had in my P1. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Kind of.
He's also an Uber driver, so that's also fun.
I've met a lot of really nice Uber drivers.
Same.
Very cute
I'm
ones
friends
too.
with someone on Facebook.
Really?
Well, to him and the other person that I worked with.
Oh.
So, within reason, I'm friends with people, Uber drivers on Facebook.
I've tried before and they've been like, no. And I'm like, I get it. But I'm also like, oh, be my friend though.
No, I was a spokesperson to the one for his daughter to come to Point Park.
Really?
And so she's applying for the cinema program. So
That's amazing.
we love it.
What was I gonna say? That like I'll get a cute Uber driver once in a while and be like, hey.
Ew.
I had this one from Pitt, and oh my god, he was beautiful. Literally the most beautiful man I've
You're
ever
gonna
seen.
get yourself abducted one day. You can't play games like that.
You gotta do a mystery file based on me.
One
You're
of
like,
these days.
hey guys, it's a mystery files. It's just Tiffany this time because Logan's an idiot and he got himself killed.
Stop! You gotta.
Spoiler alert. That's the mystery.
That's
He's
the
dead.
Halloween special. Imagine Logan the Master went missing because he's a dummy boy.
Oh my god, that's the Halloween special. Everyone's very excited for. Oh my god.
Yes. By the way, we're having a Halloween special.
We are.
In case you were curious.
We're very excited about the location we went to. I'm very
Yes, we're
excited
kinda thrilled.
for like
I
all
don't
the
know.
research
I
that
don't
we're
know.
doing.
I don't know.
Oh, it's gonna be a good time.
We can't say too much. We don't want to give anything away.
Yeah.
But like,
No.
no, it's brewing. It's coming along for you guys.
Back to the caves.
I'm Logan the Master, and you're watching not
These
Disney Channel.
spikes. This is so funny.
Poor
I love them.
the poor spikes.
Is it still going? Oh, it is. It looks like it's not going anymore.
I don't think we're crazy in the red. There have been a few times we were.
No, yeah, we're doing pretty good, I think.
I think so too. If anything, I'm too quiet. We'll see.
All right, back to the case. So
Back to your
after
program.
they heard this at the diner, the detectives were literally like, "We're not taking a trip up to Michigan to go see this."
Mm-hmm.
But Randy and their family was like, "We have to go see. Like, what if it is him? Like, I can't live with myself not knowing."
Mm-hmm.
However, they got to it and found out there was no Brian who worked at the restaurant. They
Was
could
he a
not find
ghost?
anyone. Yeah,
I kind of hope
oh,
he's a
that's
ghost.
kind of more spooky.
That kind of freaks me out, but I love it. Brian
Yeah.
the Ghost.
So, in a radio interview 18 months after Brian disappeared, Randy told the host of the show that he never understood why Brian went out on the night he disappeared. They both went out and grabbed a steak dinner earlier that evening, and Brian seemed exhausted after pulling all-nighters for a flurry of med school exams. And though he wore a remarkably composed exterior, he was still reeling over his mother's death. Renee, Brian's friend, says his confident, what did she say? Oh, Renee was Brian's friend, said his confidant and his hero. She was also the center of the Shaffer universe, and losing her alternately unraveled tight family ties and thrust the men closer together. So it's kind of like an unraveling type of thing after she died.
Yeah.
So apparently they were too distraught to really sort out her things, unmove them, do anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the same thing with Brian's stuff after a while. He like just couldn't get himself.
Could
to
you
do
imagine losing her and then losing him? That would be so awful.
It's honestly crazy. Like this story is just like
That's really sad.
insane. So yeah, basically, that is most of the theories that are going on with the case. This is all of like the information from the evidence, from what the detectives have seen, what other people have speculated. What do you think so far? Because I have a little more.
I don't know. I feel like I'm still pretty confident about my last little accusation or whatever theory of what happened. Just that.
Which one?
Just the fact that maybe he went to the other exit, potentially went home with these other girls, and then.
But the girls went down the escalator though.
So
he
they
didn't go
never.
with them.
Okay.
Yeah. See, he went back in. He like
why
disappeared
did he
into
go
a
back
corner
in?
and never seen. Exactly.
I don't know. I'm conflicted.
So.
But there was my whole theory.
Do you want to hear the 4 strongest theories people have about this
There's
case?
stronger theories. Yes, I want
Yes.
those because I'm really
Isn't
confused.
Isn't that crazy? Even with like the ones I just talked about, like literally, like I find this case so interesting. Is just because it's just like a spiral of like other theories and things, like other people faking identities, a smiley face killer of what?
Maybe he just walked out dressed as someone else. I think you said that at the beginning.
Yeah, like a lot of people think that might have been a way he escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this case is so overstimulating. My brain's like, what?
But what is the right answer, though?
All right, so let's get into the theories.
Theory.
So, theory 1. Brian left to start a new life. Brian had been rocked by the death of his mother, and her funeral was held only 25 days before he disappeared, as we know. Some people theorize that he was also questioning his study and career choices, and perhaps even his sexuality.
Oh.
Did he feel trapped in his life? Brian wrote on his MySpace page.
Stop it. Welcome to 2006.
Welcome to 2006, baby.
Baby, MySpace.
I really love music, and this whole doctor thing is really just a job, a parentheses only temporary, until I get my band together and put out a record. I want to own an island someday, or at least a beach so I can listen to Buffy all day and drink margaritas with my senorita.
Stop it! I hated that voice deeply.
Did you like it?
I'm really
that was my
if you
man impression.
If you actually talked like that, I don't
we wouldn't
think
be friends.
I don't think I could be friends with you.
We wouldn't have a podcast anymore.
I would have nothing with you.
I'm gonna only talk like this from now on.
Well, this has been the Mystery Files.
You really just took off your headphones. I can't.
I walk out of the studio.
Oh.
I go, good luck. First episode, more like the last. Goodbye.
Well, that's a wrap on season 3. We'll see you never.
We'll see you never. I didn't enjoy that.
Alright, so investigators looked into this possibility that Brian changed his clothes and left the ugly tuna undetected, moving on to start a new life. After extensive research, one of the investigators, Andre Edwards, said he could say with 100% certainty that Brian did not leave via the escalator. So he had to would have gone out the other doors. I know.
Interesting.
It's
like one little construction zone. Unless you mentioned something about him questioning his sexuality. What if he became friends with a little construction man?
And then they ran off together.
And then he's like, let me take your hand. I'll show you the way to go. And then they frolic
at like
away.
2 a.m.? Why
Yeah.
would they be there? I mean, I guess people work on construction sites at
Or
night.
like he met him during the day and he was like, meet me
Oh my
at
God.
like 2 a.m.
Honestly, I would buy that book.
And they like frolic together through the construction. And they fall in love and run away.
That's honestly
But I feel
beautiful.
really bad. But also, like, maybe they change their names so they can live a happy life together.
So, on to theory 2.
Yeah.
I'm just so overstimulated. This episode is just so overstimulating for me. I'm like, I'm like, what's happening?
You see, I don't know what happened.
Well, that's
I
usually
hope the best for him, though.
that's usually how it goes. Like, the reader just does all the reading, and the other person's the bit man. You know,
Bitman? Yeah, for real.
like every time you do a case, I'm like, how many jokes can I get in? Like you get in
how
3
many
words.
bits can I
You
fit?
get in 3 words, and I go baba booey.
Baba booey.
All right, theory 2. Brian attempted to leave the bar intoxicated and became trapped or died somewhere in the area.
Oh.
There was much construction going on in the area around the Ugly Tuna when Brian disappeared. Did he leave via a service store and become injured in a construction zone? Police don't seem to think this is a likely possibility. They have reviewed all footage and conducted through checks of the area. Did he somehow slip through the cracks and his remains have been undetected for over a decade? Some people comment and say that perhaps developers or building owners are covering up his death after he slipped into an out-of-bounds area for fear of a lawsuit.
Stop, like, covering up, like, oh, we're gonna cover up the evidence, or, like, physically cover it up. Like, they accidentally poured, like, cement over him or something.
So they think, like, because if you saw in the beginning, they didn't start to question or worry about him till Monday, and this happened Saturday, so there was a day turnover.
So they could have definitely
So he
done
could have
something.
been dead in the construction site and covered it up.
Physically.
Physically.
Thank you. With cement.
A third theory. Brian left the Ugly Tuna and died right after that.
Wow, they really...
Thank you. Woo!
Wow, thanks, helped us a lot. Wow.
So Brian's wallet and cell phone have never been found, yet his bed was made the next day when his father went to check on him.
Oh, no.
This infers that he probably never reached home after his night out. Did he come across someone and get in a drunken argument with them, resulting in his death? As we know, people have linked it to the smiley face killer. Many point to him as the person who did it while he was intoxicated. Did this happen to his body, or did he just disappear?
For some reason, when you mentioned the bed, I was like, oh, he just came back, made his bed, and left. But I was like, that
Can you imagine?
I don't know why
Can
my
you
brain went
imagine?
there first, and then I was like, wait, he could have just made it the morning of.
You're, like, trying to escape and start a new life, and you're like...
My bed.
I need to go make my bed. What if, like... Stop. What if you, like, you're, like, running away, and you're, like, starting a new life. Like, you fake your death. Mm-hmm. You blow up a building, you know, cause a distraction. Get out of the state.
Got it.
And you're, like, down the highway, right? And then you go, I left the stove on.
Oh no, my stove! I gotta go back.
Oh no! And you just like eat back. You're like, hey guys, sorry, I'll just blow up another
like
building. I'll be
still.
back. Yeah,
don't even
like
look,
don't even look over
missing.
here. Like I'm literally okay.
I'm literally fine. Just let me be missing, okay?
All right, here's the fourth and final theory,
Ooh,
which is one of
yeah.
the spiciest.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Little jalapeno, little habanero.
Clint Forrest was involved in Brian's disappearance.
Wait, what's his
the
name?
Best
Forrest?
Friend. Florence.
Florence. When you first said it the first time, I thought you said florist. So
Honestly,
I was like, oh, flowers.
Honestly, I could have used a little more diction with my voice. I'm like...
That's okay. There's a lot of letters. You're good. Too many letters for one person. You're doing grand.
There are many online rumors about Clint's role in Brian's disappearance. He was one of the last people to see Brian. Clint was the only person to decline a polygraph test when he was asked. He also lawyered up. There is a speculation that Clint was a drug user, and this could have been related to Brian's disappearance.
He poured him in the cement.
So it's like the construction site and Clint are all in on it together.
Yeah, he poured him in.
I like that you assumed it was the cement thing. Like, I didn't say that, but, like, I also had the same
Yeah, I was like, they put him in the hole and
cement.
cemented him over because they didn't give him his drug money. That's what happened.
And if Brian is alive somewhere, family and friends believe that Clint may know about the disappearance. And Clint is quoted saying, what is it? Oh, no, sorry. Derek, a family member of Brian's, said, if Brian did take off somewhere, if that is the case, we just always had a strong feeling that Clint would possibly know that.
Oh.
Honestly, why wouldn't you tell your best friend you were going
For
to
real.
disappear forever?
You know, that makes me really optimistic with my theory that I ran away with a construction worker.
You think
That
so?
makes me very optimistic because if his friend's not saying diddly squat, like, he kind of knows something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
so that is all of the theories of the disappearance of Brian Shaffer.
Ooh.
Thoughts? What do you think
I don't
is
know.
the answer?
Okay, my two strongest, obviously I just said,
Right.
the construction lover boy.
Right.
And then the second
Your little
one.
gay rom-com.
Yeah, I just think, go you, homie. I mean, first off, tell, like, your
Equal
girl.
rights, baby.
Like, do you, homie. But also tell your girlfriend. Second off,
Tell your girlfriend you're gay. If you're listening, audience,
just tell him.
tell your girlfriend you're gay.
But also, well, then again, I'm also like, but why did he want to propose to her? I feel like I'm just a little confused, but I don't know.
Maybe
But
it's like the New Girl episode. Spoiler alerts.
Spoiler
Where
alert.
like she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I realized I love someone else.
I love somebody else. But yeah,
You know.
that one, and then the construction, just like him falling in the construction stuff. But then also, I really like the idea of tying the
The smiley face killer.
no, the other guy,
Clint.
the drug guy.
Clint.
Yeah, Clint.
The best friend.
So someone pushed him in the hole because they didn't like give him the drug money, and then they cemented him over.
That could be interesting.
I don't know, just throwing some ideas in. But I really hope the guy's alive, doing well, just hiding. That's my optimist
Honestly? Yeah.
outlook. Because if Clint knows something, Clint's hiding. He doesn't want to give any info about it. He knows he's alive somewhere, he just doesn't want to say.
Yeah,
Let's
of
hope he's in
course.
love somewhere.
Right.
I don't know.
So what I have two theories too.
Got it.
I think he disappeared and he ran away.
Okay.
We've been doing this for a while. We've been doing this for what, a whole year now? Wow.
Oh, year, wow.
Oh my god,
Anniversary.
that's so beautiful.
Welcome.
And in all of the cases we've kind of talked about, it seems like a lot of the likeliness of like this is like people running away.
Yeah.
Like kind of starting those new lives for themselves, doing things, and like why would the cell phone be in like a random place and why would it get like that switch unless he planted it there?
Yeah.
That's one of my big T's. I think he left
Okay.
to start a new life. My second theory is that I do think he might have drunkenly stumbled onto the construction site and died.
Yeah.
And either the firm covered it up or something happened.
Like he accidentally got physically covered up with
Yeah.
something and they didn't realize until it was too late.
Truly, I think he like made his way to California or something.
Yeah.
He made his way either west or east.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Because I do think the easier answer is to say, oh yeah, he got caught in the construction stuff
Yeah.
and passed away there. But I feel like since his friend is so weird about it and doesn't want to take these lie detector test things, like, he knows something.
But the weird thing with the disappearance thing, too, though, is that, like, why would you decide to go missing at a bar with so many people, so many places there? But, like, that also asks the question, like, did he know where the security cameras were set since it was a bar they went to a lot? Did he pre-plan this? Honestly, if he did pre-plan it, if he's still alive out there, that is a dramatic way to go, my guy.
For real,
that is a dramatic setup to, like, start a disappearance.
But also, I think it's also just strange that someone saw him somewhere else. Like, saw someone they thought was him somewhere else with the same name. Yeah. And then they tried to cover it up.
Yeah, but honestly, that could be me. That would be me, though. Like, I would have, like, a really dramatic, like, disappearance. Like, if I go very dramatically from this world, just know I'm still out there. I'm still alive.
Well, see, I love the idea of faking a death. That's why I was so into, like, the Michael Jackson death hoax, like, all the way back when.
I'm surprised you've never done this on that show yet.
I think it's just a lot for me to get into. I feel like it'd be, like,
it would be, like, a 4-part special.
Like, I don't know how I'd start talking about it, but, like, just the idea of someone faking their death to start a new life for themselves is so interesting. And even now that I'm not necessarily like, oh, Michael Jackson's still alive, I'm still very invested in the idea that people can do something so crazy and get away with it.
Honestly, I mean, we have the resources for that.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I'm like, how are you doing that?
I just hope Brian's happy wherever he is. Wherever he is. I hope he's happy. But also, with his choices.
While we were talking, I thought of something else potentially that could have happened. So if we're going down this little rabbit hole of the idea that he got involved with, like, drug people. So if
like, Clint's the drug person.
He's a drug person.
Yeah.
So imagine, it's like a whole drug person. It's like a whole, like, mafia drug underground type thing, right? So we have all this crazy stuff going on, and then he gets in, like, deep trouble. So he's got to, like, get out of the state, get out of town.
And get out of town.
Then he goes to a diner, which is a cover-up for something else. So he works there with all these underground mafia people.
Stop, that's crazy.
So then, when the police officers come in and they're like, oh, we heard of Brian S. works here, whatever his face is.
Oh,
and
my God.
they're like, no, Mr. Brian doesn't work here. Don't know how you thought that. And then they hide him some more. And he's still alive out there, hiding with the drug mafia people.
And that's on...
That's the Mystery Files.
That's it. That's the finalized case, I think.
Yeah, that's my final theory.
We'll start making shirts with, like, all of our theories, like the long-winded ones, like, on a t-shirt, and we'll just have people wear them around.
If we're gonna be real, I feel like all of my theories eventually somehow come back to mafia.
Yeah, you're big on mafia. That's your big thing.
I just think that stuff is crazy. Like that diner I went to yesterday. I won't say the name just to make sure they're okay. But
you say you don't get on their hit list.
No, I'm not gonna say what diner. I'm kind of scared. So I'm not gonna say what their name is, but they're for sure a mafia cover-up. I'm not joking you. They take way too long to serve you, and they are very, like, off. Something's off there. God. And I'm not gonna say the name because I don't want.
Don't say anything. People are gonna use process of elimination and figure out which one it is.
I'll give you a hint.
Don't
Big John. Big John works there, so we can't have Big John.
Don't drop me. If you don't want it to get discovered, don't drop the mafia leader's name.
It's not my fault they told me Big John works there. He's the leader. It's not my fault. If you know, then you know. Okay, that's not my fault. I didn't name drop the diner. I just name dropped the main guy. That's not my fault.
We'll do a giveaway if you figure out.
If you name that diner without already knowing what diner it was because of yesterday,
drop it.
Drop it down in the comment section.
Drop it down in the comment section when we.
And if you're watching this later as it's being aired, then just drop it on our little Instagram at mysteryfiles_.
Yeah, if you're watching Wednesday night at 10 p.m. with WPPJ, just send the Mystery Files _ on Instagram a little message if you think you know what the diner is.
Yeah, so that was pretty effortless.
Honestly, that could be kind of fun.
I don't know.
We should do that in other episodes. We should be like, what did Tiffany say at 19 minutes and 23 seconds?
19 minutes after 9. On Monday.
All right. 5th. So, wow. I guess in a way, the Brian Shaffer case will always remain a mystery. All right, thank you guys for tuning in with us for the first episode of season 3. We're happy to be back. And we will see you next week with Tiffany's case.
Yes, we will. It'll be a grand old time.
All right. Yeah. We'll see you guys later.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.